Right. I think we are live. Welcome everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I don't know where everyone is from. I am currently in the Big Apple. So here it is 4 sorry, let me see. At 9, 10 a.m. So I lost track of time. I lost track of time. It's 10 a.m. over here. So where is everyone from? Netherlands, UK. Welcome, welcome. So let's give everyone a minute to join this call. I'm also getting ready over here. So in this time, maybe you want to get a cup of tea, cup of coffee, depending on what time it is over there. So yes, it's always weird, like the beginning of webinars, especially when it's a webinar with where you're the only speaker and you're sort of talking to yourself, filling the time. So yes, I think we can start. This webinar is also being recorded, so people can watch it back. This very special beginning, if they want to. So I'm gonna start sharing my screen, my presentation. There we go. All right. Oneteam 3.0. Welcome everyone to this webinar. I think will take about half an hour to 45 minutes, where we're gonna talk about Oneteam 3.0, a big step forward in what we're calling the revolutionizing the deskless employee experience. And what we're gonna talk about today is, first of all, what are the employee experience challenges with deskless teams that we are focused on solving. Then we're going to talk about Oneteam 3.0 for the employee side, then for the organization side. Then we have a Q&A session, and then the next steps. How can you try Oneteam 3.0? So what we say is Oneteam 3.0 is more than just a product update. It's not just a new feature. It's not just an improvement. It's 3.0 for a reason. You know, we cannot do this too much. So we cannot do a 4.0 or 5.0 next month. It's a big thing, and especially getting to this point, as some of you know, Oneteam, we are already here for many years, and we've been developing multiple components of the employee experience, like internal communication, onboarding, e-learning, surveys, all these integrations with HR and workforce management systems. But it's an app, and you have to really make it simple, and the user experience is very important. But it became a little bit scattered. All these different components became a bit scattered across the app. And the vision we once had is to really have one centralized place where everything for the employee is centralized. And yes, it was all in one app, but in the app, it didn't really feel centralized. So with Oneteam 3.0, we truly have a centralized employee experience, something that I dreamed about back when I was in high school, because that's how it all started. In my high school days, so that's a long time ago, I worked at a few companies in retail, restaurants, and there were all these challenges that we had. First of all, there were all these operational communication challenges. We had like all these different types of communication platforms like WhatsApp and email and internet and newsletters and bulletin boards, and all the important information was scattered across all these different places. We also had like onboarding manuals and e-learning systems. Also, some information was over there. And it was a part-time job, but it was almost a full-time job to sort of keep up to date with everything that you had to know. And of course, people didn't do that. So there was a lot of miscommunication, a lot of frustration, and just a lot of time being wasted from the manager, but also handling all the miscommunication with customers. So that was one challenge, and another one is the employee engagement challenge. Now, in lately, I'm when I'm working in this field, I hear a lot about employee engagement. But back in the day when I was when I had this job, employee engagement was a term that was like non-existent. It was it was unheard of because it was very transactional. It was just like, here's your working clothes, go work there, do this, and here's your paycheck. And of course, people were not engaged at these jobs, and people switch jobs in these industries all the time because they're not engaged. And I saw just so much untapped potential because especially in industries where people are customer facing, it's really important that people are motivated, that people are engaged. Um, so that's another thing that we wanted to solve with One Team, but it's just such a difficult group to make, to increase the employee engagement. So that's what I discovered, that this industry or this type of employees, the deskless workers, the frontline workers. Later I found out it's 80%, 80 of the global workforce. So that are working across different locations in different shifts, don't have the connection with the headquarters, and often just feel voiceless, unengaged, disempowered, and that's what we want to. That's what we want to solve with like truly creating One Team. So because it's again, it has a lot of impact on the organizations and on the employees. So that's what we want to. That's what we want to solve. I already described a little bit how the transition from One Team 1.0 and 2.0 to now One Team 3.0. We have this quick teaser video that I want to show that maybe some of you already saw during the announcement over a month ago. Quickly want to show like quick overview of the hub before I share my app screen and we dive into every detail of it. So let's go. Yes, I always get hyped with this music. It was a really good decision of the video animator to get this music there. So One Team 3.0. I'm gonna stop sharing this presentation. I'm gonna start sharing my phone. There we go. Oh, infinite loop. There we are. So then here we go. This is what Nina from Trendy Apparel would see if she she downloads the app, she opens the app. This is what she sees. She sees the hub over here, and everything that is relevant for her is right here in the hub. So let me just walk you through it. So just a quick from top to bottom. Just this is what it looks like, and we just start at the top. So she just started working at this company, so she has access to her onboarding program. So that's what you will see on top. And if I click on it, she sees her entire onboarding program here, everything that she needs to know before you can say this is something that she has to do before she can start working, or some of these things you say, okay, the first one you have to do before you start working, but the other things you can do in just your first 30 days. And she also has like a deadline to finish it. So she can just go through this. This is just very easy to create, and afterwards we'll show you how to do that. Some of these things I saw there are some existing customers in this webinar as well. So you already know this, but for the people who don't know this, we can just go a little bit, explain a little bit more about this. So this is just some text, some videos, some documents that you can share with your employees. You can also create a quiz. 1980, I had to know that. Oxford, yes. So this is going well. So I get some points as well. So this is just very easy, her onboarding program. And with each course, you can say, okay, this is for everyone. But for example, sales associates is just for everyone that is starting to work as a sales associate. So she will get notifications and reminders about this to complete this onboarding course um, when in the upcoming weeks. So this is the onboarding program. Then here we see pulse surveys. This is also something new that we have. Um, as a company, you can say, okay, I want there are just certain categories, for example, recognition, uh, satisfaction, work-life balance. Like there's different types of categories of things that you want to measure, like have a as a pulse, let's say. And for each category, there are like 8 or 10 questions, and the platform will randomly ask like these questions to employees. And what will happen is people can really very easily fill in these questions. So submit answer. There's another one for me actually. Um, so my job enables me to learn and develop new skills. So I think this is a question that is related to the category of personal development. And there are like again, there are different types of questions for each category. And what happens? People fill this in. It's anonymous, and you will see an overview of like, hey, people rate personal development higher and higher and higher, or actually it's getting lower, or some categories is going lower. And you can also zoom in and see, okay, in these locations or in these departments, it's going up or down. But for the employee, it's very easy and very satisfying actually to fill in these surveys instead of like having to click on a link, having to log in somewhere, getting 90 questions. So this is just they just randomly get these questions during the year, maybe one or two a week, or you can fill it in. You can say maybe once a month. So people get these questions, it's very easy to fill in. So when you're done with your onboarding, when you don't have any surveys, then this will be on top. It's the important messages. So of course we have the timeline over here with all the messages that are posted in all the groups that I'm a part of. But the important messages will be highlighted in the hub. So there's this new POS system, and I can click mark as red, and then it's gone. I mean, you can still find it over here, of course, but it's gone from the hub. So it's very easy to have an overview of all the important messages over here. Then there's just a section of some to-dos. So for example, there's a to-do for me to introduce myself if I want. Um, what happens is because I'm a new employee, I can introduce myself, I can write a little message about myself, and people in your community, so people that work in your location, your store or your hotel, or however you structured Oneteam, um, they will see that message and they can give you a high five and comment. There are also some larger surveys that you can do. So for example, there's this one. So this is a larger survey where you can ask like multiple questions, different types of input fields. So that was very easy. And now it's gone from the hub. But there's also, for example, invitations to events. So there is this event. I can click on it. I can see some information. I can say if I'm going or not. So I'm going. And again, it's gone from the hub. Then the next thing is the e-learning. So after you're done with your onboarding, so onboarding is just really for new employees, and e-learning is for all the existing employees. Just quick. Well, I can actually show the entire academy over here. Different types of courses you can create over here. So there's just some of them that I'm working on, and those I will see here in the hub. But also if there's one with a deadline that is happening soon, I will also see it over here. Then we have the apps and shortcuts, and this is one of my favorite parts about the hub as well. Is here you can really centralize everything. So there's just some apps like, for example, an overview of all your colleagues and the birthdays. Then we have a calendar where if you have, we can integrate with your shift schedule system so people can see their shifts here, but you can also see the events. You You can also see birthdays. It's all in this calendar. We have documents, which is just like a document management system like SharePoint or Dropbox, or Google Drive. You can create all the documents here. Then we have the Academy, which I already showed. We have events with an overview of all the events. Here we have forms. But here is now the great thing. From documents and from forms, you can highlight them in the hub. So for example, there's a form called IT request or Ask HR, and you can highlight them in the hub. So it's really easy to find them over here. So you can just have here the form, you can fill it in, and you can submit it right here. And the same is happening with documents. Like you can see all documents over here, but for example, the employee handbook is really important, so you want to highlight it. So here it is. I click on it, and I have this document right here. And for every item over here, like handbook, the forms, you can say, okay, for who is this important? Is this for everyone, or is it for only the managers, or only the sales associates, or however you structured Oneteam? You can create the right audience for this, the right visibility for the forms or for the documents. And the third thing you can show on this hub with the apps and shortcuts is links to other platforms or other websites. So these three at the bottom, this can be a link to a website or to another app. So really everything that the employee needs, it's either in Oneteam, like as a feature in Oneteam, or if it's in a different system, you can show the system over here. And what we've also done with some of these integrations is you click on it and you don't, this other system will be opened in Oneteam, and you don't have to log in that other system. We have some integration with called magic linking or magic login, and you will be automatically logged into this system as well. So that is the hub, and a little restructuring of the tab bar at the bottom. So first is the hub, then we have the timeline, then we have the chat. Notifications is also new. So notifications are becoming more and more important in Oneteam. So here you have an overview of all the notifications that are relevant to me. And then in more, we have all the other settings, like your privacy settings, notification settings, your language settings, your account that you can fill in some information. So that's the new structure of Oneteam. So really everything centralized in the hub, or and you can also find the other information here in the rest of in the app. So let's just go and go to the web version and show you how to create this hub. There we go. Share screen. Yes. All right. So this is the admin dashboard. Again, for our existing customers, they already know this, but this is the existing or the admin dashboard. Here we have all the different features, and I will just quickly go through most of them to give you an overview, like how do you create this hub? This looks great. How can I get this from my employees? Well, actually, it's very simple. It all starts with the structure. So what is the structure of your company? It starts with communities, like what kind of locations do you have? So if you have a retail company with different stores, over here you can create a community for every store that you have. And the second thing is your function groups, or also called departments. So what kind of, here you can create all sorts of groups. So you have cashiers, sales advisors, visual merchandisers. You can create anything that you want. It is just important that these two things you will see in every component of Oneteam when you're creating a form, whether creating an onboarding course. This is what you can filter on. So then you can later, when you invite people, you can manually say, okay, hey, this is Nina. She works here in this department. or you can do that through a CSV file, or the best thing is through an integration. We have many integrations with HR and workforce management systems to make an automatic synchronization, that every time you hire someone, they are added to that HR system. They will be automatically added to one team, to the right communities and the right function groups, so they will be able to see the right things in one team. So that is the structure. Then with regards to the communication, like how do you get those messages in one team? You can either create organizational messages where you just, again, use these two filters, or you can create groups. And again, when you create a group, here you can create the audience again. And when you create a message, either in a group or here as an organizational message, when you mark them as important, they will be visible in the hub. If it's not an important message, you can just view them in the timeline. People will still get a notification, but it will not be highlighted in the hub. So then the next thing, and I can imagine for some people I'm going a little fast. It can be a little overwhelming, but looking at the time, we got it. So again, we are recording this. Afterwards, you can watch it back. Then we have the onboarding. So creating the programs for new employees. These are the 8 courses that I've created, and each course can have a so-called content module or a quiz module. You can create unlimited ones. But for example, here we have a content module. Very easy. You can add text, video, YouTube, image, PDFs. It's drag and drop. It's very easy to create. And the same is for the quizzes. Just a question, the options, you mark which one is good. You can even give hints or say, oh, if the correct answer is correct, then you can say something nice. If the answer is incorrect, you can give them a quick feedback on that. And again, for each course, you can create an audience. So you can say the community and function group, and you can even say a language. So we can see whenever someone installs the app, we can see what is their language settings on their phone, and the app will be automatically visible in that language. So if it's English, it's English. If it's Dutch, it's Dutch. And also you can filter on that over here. So when you're creating an onboarding program and you have a large population that speaks Spanish, you can here create a course in Spanish and then make it only visible for the people who speak Spanish. So that is the onboarding. You can create all these different courses with the modules, and that's it. And you have the statistics over here. And then the e-learning. So I've created 13 courses, and it works exactly the same as onboarding. Again, content modules and quiz modules and the audience selector. So that's how you do it over here. And then you can create learning paths, which is what we saw over here. So for example, here, general skills, need to know. You can create it. Oh, there we go. You can create them over here and add courses to those learning paths. Then the next thing is surveys. So we have 2 types of surveys. We have the custom surveys, which is just a sort of a one-time survey. We have some templates over here. Let me just show you one. You can create all sorts of input fields like text answer, multiple choice, slider, and then you can say if it's anonymous or not. And again, you can create the audience for this. But the second, or the second thing, the second type of survey, let me get this right. So the second type of survey is pulse surveys. When I create a pulse survey, there are all these categories that I talked about in the beginning. So for example, teamwork. you will get eventually you get a teamwork score, and that is dependent on how people fill in one of these questions. So, for example, it's randomized. So if you have like 6 of these questions, um, one person will get like one question, another one gets another question, but the score will be combined, and you get an overview. So people will not get the same question every week or every 2 weeks. So there is these categories and these questions, and then what happens is you can say, okay, I want there's one pill survey that I have for the entire organization. So 55 people in this case. Every 2 weeks, I want to ask 3 questions. So if I selected in the previous thing, I selected like 25 questions, and they will get like the employee every 2 weeks get like a random order of these three questions. So, but you can also say, okay, I want to measure some things very often, like every 2 weeks, but there are some things maybe once a month or once a quarter. So you can create multiple Pearl surveys with multiple types of questions, with different types of frequencies, and a different audience. So it's very flexible. So this is already one that I set live, but not enough people filled it in, so there's no data for me here to view. But when people really start filling this Pearl survey, if they fill this in, you get a really beautiful overview of every category, and if it's going up or it's going down. So that is surveys. Now let's move on to forms. And again, I think I'm going pretty quick, so let's take a quick break. Let me get a quick sip because I'm also getting a dry mouth. It's a lot to show, I know. So now we go to forms and checklists. So in Oneteam, you can, one of the goals of Oneteam is to streamline communication. And with forms and checklists, you can standardize communication that is happening frequently. Instead of like sending a chat message, like, hey, I have this IT request. And then someone says, then the person replies with some extra questions, and it's going back and forth. You don't want it. So with this, you can, for example, IT request, you can create all sorts of input questions. Like, okay, if someone has an IT request, I have these questions. How much priority at an image, or you can create certain categories, like any type of input field you can have over here. And you can then say, okay, when someone fills this in, I want to have statuses like, this is in Dutch, but it is like submitted, approved, or rejected, for example. You can say, okay, if someone fills this in, I want to send an email to this email address. So, for example, if you use Slack or Microsoft Teams, you can have a channel, and every channel has a unique email address. So, for example, you can say, if someone fills in this form, I want a notification in Microsoft Teams or in Slack as well. You can add moderators, and then when, for example, Ask HR, when someone submitted the form, you can see it over here. You have the status over here. You can comment, so you can talk with Nina. And it's just really, really easy to streamline communication. So again, we have a lot of different templates for this, but you can also create it from scratch. So you can use this again as a form or as a checklist. So we also have like a checklist feature where just people can fill it in, they can complete it, and you have all the data, all the checklists, all the filled in checklists in one overview. So that is forms. Then for document management, you have to go to a community right here, and here are the documents. So you can create folders, and with each folder you can again say for which one is it visible, and then you can just add all types of documents to this to this folder. So that's actually pretty simple. So we're closing in on the final things of the admin dashboard. The last things I want to show is the branding. You can upload the logo. You can change the colors. So let's make it orange. Very easy. And then the final thing is shortcuts. So again, in the hub, we have all the shortcuts over here. How do you create them? You do that right here. So settings and then shortcuts. Here you have you can create three types of shortcuts. Let me go here. You can create an external link. So that is to another website or another app. You can create a form shortcut. So one of the forms you've created, for example, IT request, I can make it visible in the hub, or add document. So when there's a document that you've uploaded, you can select the document right here, and it will be visible in the hub. And you can here also change the order of the apps and shortcuts that you see in the hub. So I think that is the most important things to show everyone right now. Let me see if I didn't forget anything. I mean, it's just so much we wanna show. I think. Oh yeah, one more thing that we want to show is events. So in Oneteam, you can also organize events. So, for example, very easy, just a date and time, the location. It can be a physical location, or it can be a web link to a Google Meets, for example. You can create some nice images. And again, here you have the audience. So you can say, here you have also some extra filters. For example, if it's a event for new hires, you can say, okay, I want to make this event visible for only people that are working less than 30 days at the company. And then only those people will see it. So 55 people work here less than 30 days. So for those people, it will be visible. And you have all sorts of extra settings like limited spots, unlimited spots, hide guest lists, get notifications, etc., etc. So here's, for example, that event. You can also post messages for people that are going to the event. You can see who's going, who's not going, who hasn't responded. Yeah, I think those are the most important things or not most important things, those are all the things that we wanted to show you. Because again, we wanted to go in detail with this webinar. So these are all the different components of Oneteam, all centralized in the hub. Pretty much everything for work is in the hub. So let me share the stop sharing. Let me share the presentation. And then I see there's already some questions. We will get to them in a second. Who's this one? Yes. All right, so we saw the demo. Another thing that we've introduced with the launch of Oneteam 3.0 is new pricing packages. As some of you know, before we had modular pricing packages. So it was, let's say, €2 for internal communication. And then you got everything from internal communication. €1 for onboarding and academy. And then you got everything. So it went on. And I think in total, it was like €5 per employee per month. But now with the hub, we really see the power of like an all-in-one platform. And we saw that not every company, like they want to have all the different features like an all-in-one platform, but they don't need all the depth of each feature. Like with e-learning, like you don't need all the different features that we have. So what we've done instead of like modular, we now also have bundles where, for example, a starter, you get from each component, you get the basic features. With Essential, you get the most essential features, and with Professional, it's really for the companies that want to go all in. Like then you have all the features of every component. And also we changed the pricing. Like Starter is $149, Essential is $299, and Professional is $399. So indeed, we made the total. So a lot of things nowadays is getting more expensive with inflation. We actually reduced the pricing with these bundles. So with Professional, with before with all the modules, everything in total would be €5 per employee per month. Now it's €4 or $3.99 per user per month. So that is we do this to make it just more accessible for companies, because again, we want to help as many companies in the world become one team. So it is time for the Q&A. I see that there are quite a lot of questions. I think some of these questions also the team is responding to in the chat, but I will just pick a few so we don't spend too much. How you call it? We have to look at the time as well. So the first question: how does Oneteam ensure the security and privacy of documents stored within the app? So in general, we spend a lot of time on security on the platform. On our website, there's also an entire page dedicated to how we're handling security. So yeah, it's all really well encrypted and secure. And when it regards to privacy, is within the platform, when you create a folder, you can select, I showed it a little bit in the demo, but with each folder, you can say this folder is visible for everyone, or again, for a specific location or a specific department, so that only people in that audience can see the folder and see what's inside the folder. Hope that answered your question. Let's see what customization options are available for branding and white labeling the Oneteam app. So every customer has like the in-app branding. So what I showed before is you can change the colors, you can create a logo, so that when you open the Oneteam app, it feels like it's your own app. But we also offer another thing called white labeling, where the platform now it's the Oneteam app, but you can also create like your own app. So for example, for H&M, they don't use the Oneteam app. We've created like an H&M, I think it's also called H&M Oneteam actually. So it's just their own name, their own place in the app store, their own app logo. You don't see anywhere that that is from Oneteam. So, but that is at an additional cost, and I think we show that on the pricing website or on the pricing page on the website. Hope that answered your question. The third question, let's do two more. Looking at the time, what workforce management systems do you currently integrate with, and what if mine isn't on the list? On the website, we have also an entire list of systems that we are integrating with. I think it's about like 20 or 25, but we make new integrations almost every month. If you have a system that is not on that list, you can just reach out to us, and we can look if we can make an integration with that system. With some systems we can, with some systems we can't. It depends how if they have a so-called open API. So if you're able to integrate with them, like we can integrate. It will not depend on us. Let's say it will really depend on the other system, like if they have an open API. So yeah, I hope that answered your question as well. And then the question I see a few times is, and I can imagine that's on the mind of most people, is when will 123.0 be available? What I just showed is the actual app, so it's actually working, and we are now making a list of customers who want to do a beta test, so they want to test it out. I think some of you I already saw on the wait list, so you are like on top of the list to reach out to. And I think also our customer success manager already contacted a few of you, and she's also reaching out to Nicole. She's also reaching out to people if they want to be on this on the beta. So yeah, if you're interested, let us know. You'll be one of the first ones to test it. And we are slowly then rolling it out to all customers. Like, we don't want to force anyone. And I think there will also be an option where eventually everyone will see the hub in the app, but you can select if you want the hub to open as the first thing or the timeline. Because right now, before 1 Team 3.0, you would open the timeline. So if companies still want the timeline to be like the default thing that will open when you start the app, you can still do that. But if you want a hub, it's also possible. So you have an option there. But eventually, all customers will also have the hub in the navigation bar in the app. So I think that's it. We have to round up. It took time always flies when we're doing these things. So if you have any other questions, you can still put it in the chat. We will follow up with you afterwards, or you can reach out um, to us on the website, or if you're a customer, you can reach out to our customer success manager. So hopefully everyone got a much better view, much better picture of Oneteam 3.0, how to truly centralize everything in one app. So thanks everyone for your time. Hope you have a lovely rest of the day. All right, I'm gonna sign out. Bye bye.